Welcome to the Jerry Graves channel. This is a channel that talks about how to bring about justice. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button so you can get more valuable content on this subject, and because it's easy. All right, so we're going to cover two ideas in this video, and this video is going to be really short, but the white supremacists usually choose one black person in a workplace to dump all of their racial hatred and hostility on, and they normally do it one at a time, and it's basically you're being proxied. Now, it confuses a lot of the other black people and even yourself, like because a lot of the abuse is gonna be tailored to your like type of mistakes, like anything that's your faults. They're gonna focus on that, but really behind it all is just straight racism. But then you don't feel like you can call it out because hey, they're not being racist to all of the black people all at one time, are they? So that's not really racism. It's not white supremacy because I'm nice to all the other black people. And then they'll even have another black person there who will fall for that and try to talk you down if you try to call them out on it. With all the black people confused about whether it's actually racism or not, because people have suspect that it is and they kind of know that it is, but sometimes there's still that confusion because it's like, well, they aren't mean to all the black people, so the white supremacists start to believe that they can get away with just having a rally right in the middle of the work center. It's complain about this one black person's one mistake and kind of blow it out of proportion to the point where it's almost a rally. And it's really not about the mistake, because usually these mistakes are fixed like 2 or 3 seconds after they stop complaining about it. It never was a big deal. And it's not even about the person. It's just about the system of white supremacy. It's something that they have to do. They have to stay pumped up and on guard and ready for the war and to continue the system. So they are constantly trying to pump each other up and blow things out of proportion. And they even will lie to each other just to get that energy going. And so they straight have a rally. It's crazy, but it's framed as in, and it's hidden behind the fact that, oh no, we're not having a rally right now, we're really complaining and we're just upset that you made a mistake. And everybody knows that it's fake. That it's fake because it's like, dude, you just fixed it in 2 seconds. Like, any reasonable person knows that people make mistakes. They'll make it seem like you're making mistakes all the time, even though they know that that's not true. And so what is the truth? The truth is what I said earlier. It's a rally. It's a rally. It's a war cry. It's to pump everybody up, and they'll use other people's mistakes and nobody even notices it because they're like, well, that they don't even understand proxies. Black people don't really understand that. Like, they do, but they're starting to. But before, they've been able to get away with this. It's just to keep their energy going. It's just to keep stuff going. And then they need to actually thirst for it. And a lot of times that's the reason why you end up getting fired. Because when you have people pumped up like this, they're almost thirsting for violence. They're thirsting for some type of climax. So then it's like, at some point, that person that's being proxy needs to be fired just to quell people's thirst for violence, their thirst for action, and that's the reason why a lot of white supremacists are always wanting action and always trying to stir stuff up, because behind closed doors they're always talking and trying to rally each other up. I remember when I was in the Navy, there was one time where I had called out racism before in my command, and one day I was the whole thing was already taken care of. There was I went to mass and everything already was taken care of, and they did the investigation, everything was over. And months later, they were still holding on to the fact that I had called out racism. And then they would they would go into their office, and so a lot of these people had nothing to do with it. I didn't say that they were racist. I said it was one person in my command was racist. And that's not true. They all were racist, but I didn't call them all out. So why were they taking it personal? Because they were part of the rallies. So I was standing outside of their office one time, and I remember I could hear them talking really loud, and then they burst out of the office. They passed me, but they were looking for me, right? And eventually turned around like, "Hey, you," and it was crazy. But the point is that even some of the other white people in the command were saying that I don't know what happens. They just get in that office, and next thing you know, things are going crazy. And another white person that was higher ranked than me, it was like, it's racism. He straight up said it was racism when he was talking about what I was dealing with, right? And some of the things I was talking about weren't direct. I didn't even make the connection to racism because they were so highly tailored to my faults, you know. But they were focusing on because you're black, and then I was confused. I'm thinking that they would do it more to everybody. Like, I can't really complain because they aren't really doing it, but they single one person out. But the point is that, okay, so they have these rallies, and it's something that we need to pay attention to, and this is what makes them you know very weird to deal with, because they're willingly going into insanity, you know and yeah, that's what makes it weird. But just know that sometimes when they're doing that and they're pointing out, and he left it over there, and yeah, he every time I come around, and you know what I mean, and you can hear it in their voice, all this contempt and anger. It's part of it's just contempt, but part of it's a rally. It's not anything. That's the reason why they're all getting into it and stuff like that. And it's the same energy that they use to lynch people, really, if we really want to go deep. But that's the conversation for another day.